All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about here today is 2025, like we said, started off to a pretty crazy start.
Yes.
And one of those crazy starts was the devastating fires, if you will. Well, definitely fires, but how they spread in Los Angeles County and all of the things that were lost there. And it's really kind of crazy, like how big or how much of an area was actually affected by that.
Yeah.
You know, like the Palisades, like I saw a map that showed that like Los Angeles County by itself is like the 6th or 7th largest area in the United States.
Yeah.
Like there's more people that are in there than live in Indiana type thing.
Yeah.
So, but within all that, you know, a part of history was destroyed, hip hop history. Not only was Madlib's home destroyed, but from an article that was like in 2016, he said, I've got about 3 or 4 rooms of records, 2 rooms of instruments. I probably got more than 4 tons of records now. I'm constantly buying records. I mean, outside of the entire, you know, tragedy that it is, this is really kind of a big hit to hip hop history, I guess, in a way. Because he also lost all of his potential music files and his backups and stuff that he had as well.
You know, as a person that has lost hard drives in the past, just by, you know, happenstance or whatever, or just errors or whatever, I can only imagine the amount of stuff that he had based off, like you said, he alluded to in his interviews. And a guy like that who really is what I always call in them crates, he's that person that actually was in the crates. So to have those rooms and who knows what the hell could have been based off what he was working on. Yeah. Man, that has to be beyond devastating for a person of his magnitude, because we know he saved so much. I feel for him, because even my little hard drive breaking destroyed me. So I can only imagine someone that has amassed so much in that collection to be able to lose all that due to a fire. And there's no insurance payment or anything that can replace the work that he's put in for what he has.
I mean, plus he's also known, he's got records for it. Like he would go to different countries and dig and bring rare exclusive records
that nobody else has.
I mean?
Yeah.
So that's just wild.
That's the part that you know, just as a creative, that hurts me the most, is the fact that I know, and we all know how much work he put in to get that collection. Right. No check can replace that, in my opinion. Just can't.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they're in a situation to where the insurance actually backed out on them prior to this happening. So everybody in that area, their fire insurance no longer exists.
Not for everybody, but for most of the people.
Yeah. So it's just crazy to think about how many people lost so much in this fire. The town of Alameda was one of the first black areas in California that actually allowed blacks to buy homes. That whole area is leveled. You know what I'm saying? So people lost culture. They lost items. They lost, I mean, some people lost lives. I want to say like maybe 15 to 20 people I think have passed from this situation. It's just a bad ordeal, man. And like I feel for him as far as when it comes to the music, because his life work pretty much went in flames. Other than what's already out and recorded and to us, and hopefully he had something with him that can say, because I know he had.
I thought about that.
He had an album, I think he said he has another one with Freddie Gibbs. I heard he had like a secret album with Mac Miller.
Mac Miller, yeah.
Things of that nature. So hopefully he was able to come out with some things. I heard JJ Redick, coach of the Lakers, his kids are avid collectors of basketball items, cards, jerseys, things of that nature. They lost all of that stuff. Yeah. So the game a couple of days ago, Wembanyama and Chris Paul gave them jerseys to pretty much restart their collection. Now, granted, they're in a situation to where they're able to be in front of those people. Yeah. But still, a lot of that stuff is priceless. Yeah, and a lot of people through that whole county lost a lot of priceless things. So definitely prayers and thoughts to that whole situation, because that's rough.
That's tough, man.
It's crazy, because I think all of us can speak to things where we've acquired in our lives to where it's not really even what the monetary value is, but we might have something special. We could tell a story about it. When you guys went to the Little Brother concert, you bought that back the 4-pack of beer. Like, I don't know if you could put that an actual value on that. But the story that is behind that and and how it marks a certain point in time and the memories that you have, those are the things that I, don't get me wrong. I understand the financial. I'm not trying to be, that person, but I know there have been things that have been lost or stolen for me, and it wasn't so much the financial hit I took. It was like
the emotional hit.
There was an emotional hit because it's like, I used to tell a story about like that used to be or somebody gave me that.
Yeah.
That was a gift, or like this marks a certain point in my time and I can think back to exactly what I was doing when I acquired this, or I might have bought a record that nobody else wanted, or was able to dig for a record, or went through somebody's collection. I'll never be able to find that record again.
Yeah,
I can't, and it's can't stream it. It's not even about the fact that it was this fire record to the world, but it might have been something that had a special sentimental meaning to me. So
tangibleness of it.
That's, like I said, I know with the insurance, it's kind of crazy, but you can buy another house. Because unfortunately, I had, the Raekwon purple tape that came in I had gone through some things. I had to sell that. I got more than what I paid for it. I kind of regret that.
I remember when you got that.
Yeah. But I was like, wow, man, like I was desperate at the time. I needed the money that somebody was willing to offer me for it.
Next time you in a situation like that, I mean, it could be a situation where you're able to get it back, but I just don't want it to be something to where you just totally lose some shit like that. Because you know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah, and so
check with your people
let me know.
next time.
Yeah,
check with your people next time on that one.
That's the sort of thing that, like, that I'm not gonna say keeps you up at night.
Nah,
but sometimes you're like, oh man, why did I do that?
Yeah.
But a bill had to be paid.
it happens.
Bill had to be paid.
Life was lifing.
I had a basketball that I had got signed when the NBA draft was here. This was back in '96, maybe. So who came out that year?
That was the year Grant Hill.
Rose, Grant Hill.
96
Jason
was
Kidd.
96 was Iverson.
No, that was 97.
No, 97. Yeah, you're right.
I went to that draft. The commissioner didn't even sign my ball. I had that ball, right? Got it signed that weekend. I went out of town and came back home, and the ball had been played with because they didn't know that the signatures were real. So imagine my hurt and anguish. And that was just one item. So imagine somebody losing their whole lives or everything that you know what I'm saying? I couldn't even imagine it.
No.
Because the Madlib stuff is like beyond just, it's not like his studio caught on fire. It's like his entire life.
His life.
You know what I
And
mean?
you got
his photo books.
I was about to say, we had to think about that type of stuff too. And this is photos from him as a creative, but also family photos and things that were in his home. It's just tough, man.
So he started
tough.
He started a GoFundMe just for trying to cover basic expenses right now. We could probably link it in the description and whatnot. But he is also kind of getting backlash at the same time for being like a celebrity of sorts and having a GoFundMe and stuff like that. Do you guys have any type of feelings on
there's different
that?
levels to a celebrity. So we know who he is.
Like if Kim Kardashian had a GoFundMe, it'd be different.
I mean, she's a billionaire essentially. Yeah. There's a difference between being famous and being famous and wealthy. You know what I'm saying? Or even in a situation to where you can afford everything that you lost. Yeah. I mean, of course, a lot of things aren't replaceable. But, I mean, we know him because we're part of hip-hop. We're part of the culture. There's lots of people who don't know who Madlib is from a can of paint. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I mean, I don't necessarily personally see anything wrong with that. Yeah. Because, I mean, he lives in California for one. Granted, that's probably because of the nature of his work. He's around more creative so he can get more done.
That's where
more
he's from, too.
And things like that. Yeah. But I mean, I can't fault him for putting together a GoFundMe to try to replace some of those items, because just because you're a celebrity doesn't mean that you're rich like that. I seen a video today with what's the guy that played in Amistad?
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Jimmy Hansu.
Yeah, so he had a video pretty much saying that he's not financially stable still, and he's been in the motion picture industry for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And it's based off of what he's getting paid off the work that he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So he did a movie with I think Brad Pitt might have been in the movie.
He did Blood Diamond with Leonardo. Was that Leonardo DiCaprio?
Was it Leonardo? Okay, Leonardo DiCaprio. So they said that Leonardo DiCaprio made like $25 million in that one picture.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like if you Google people's name, it gives you an estimate of what they're worth. It says he's worth $35 million.
Yeah, but he's not.
But he's not, you know what I'm saying? Because they're adding a lot of things together. So they were giving him backlash for saying that he doesn't have money like that based on what you can just Google. So, I mean, people are in different situations when it comes to celebrity. So you can't really get it twisted and fault them for that.
And people forget that, like, if you're not number one on the call sheet, if your name is not at the top of the marquee, you're not getting any back end. You might have got paid for, a little bit of when the movie came out, and you might, when you see, I don't know if you've ever seen, like, when actors open up their residual checks from streaming, and like they get checks for like $1.15.
It's like me.
Yeah. So when you think about somebody like Madlib, once again, we are aware of him because of our connection to the culture. But what's Madlib? What's Madlib's big radio hit that's been placed in Pepsi commercial? You know what I'm saying? And I want people to be very aware of how even in entertainment, there's the 1% of the 1%, if you will.
Exactly.
Because you saw it with the guy Jeffrey Owens, who played Elvin on the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
There are people who are like, all right, well, you're on the Cosby Show.
Them checks got to be huge.
You might have been doing what, but at the same time, name what he had done since then. I know a few things.
Yeah.
He's on the show now. He's on the new Diamond Wayans show.
But that's 30 years later.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That residual check isn't carrying him like that.
Yeah, and plus he wasn't a writer or producer, or he didn't own any of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you're not in that sort of position, like what they did with the castmates of Friends, where you're seeing, like, they're seeing big checks from the streaming and the continued broadcast rights. Even with musicians, everything is diminishing returns for anything that you have in your catalog. So once again, this was still is, shout out to Madlib, shout out to his family. Like, this is somebody who probably really worked hard to, have a home in California, and just see it destroyed. And, especially when you're seeing all this about how fire insurance was just canceled like a month ago.
Yeah, that's literally robbery, man.
And the crazy thing is, this is how the world works, and sometimes it's where it's hard to know things because everything will find a way to bother you. Last night, a couple nights ago, depending on when you're listening, the Rams played the Vikings. They were supposed to play it at SoFi in Los Angeles, but because of the fires, they had to move it, and they played it in Arizona at their stadium, and the
place who canceled.
Yes, exactly. At State Farm Stadium, a place. I saw they canceled as many as 75,000.
That's wild, man.
That's crazy
policies
work, man.
Just over a month ago.
Crazy. This is similar to what Fonte touches on this type of situation all the time. It's real life situations. We are musicians. We are in front of everybody, but that does not mean we have the funds like you think.
Right.
I literally seen what's his name, man? He was in the group with Rhapsody.
Charlie Smarts,
I believe. He was on like one of those HGTV shows where they go looking for a house. And the house he found wasn't an immaculate big ass house. No, it was a regular home. You know what I'm saying? So these people, just because you're in the music industry or you're in the forefront and musically people know who you are, that does not mean that you're making money like that to the point where you wouldn't need a GoFundMe to possibly support you.
Yeah, I'm not mad at him having that at all.
And still, the cost of living in LA area is ridiculous.
Crazy. I know so many people that have moved from Cali. Like, I have cousins that live here now because of the price in California. I have cousins that moved from California to Arizona because of the prices in California. So, yeah, on top of the cost of living out there, and then to have the insurance canceled is
wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy work, man.